Okay, so quick recap. Stage 3 colon cancer in 2021. It was a bowel obstruction. I had a 3 centimetre tumour that blocked my colon. I had surgery. I had a stoma installed. I had chemo. I had my stoma reversed 18 months later. And then I got on with my life. And then 12 or 18 months after that, I got called back in. Stage 4 spread, colon cancer cells spread to liver. I had a large tumour in my liver, and I had smaller tumours in my left lung and my right lung. So at this point, obviously my approach up and between stage 3 and stage 4 didn't work. The cancer didn't go away. It wasn't completely removed. And not only was it still there, it spread and it grew. And I didn't want to die. So I had to either continue the same path and assume that my life span would be dramatically reduced. Like when I had those conversations, they were talking about palliative care, but they were going to give me a chance with surgery because I was young and because I was very fit because of my athlete background. And I decided I didn't want to accept that assumpted timeline. So I opened up and looked outside of the traditional Western approach and instantly got smacked in the face with thousands of options, and I had no clue what would be helpful or would hinder or what would not have any impact. I was completely like deer caught in the headlights, didn't have a clue. I knew I had a limited amount of time and energy and money, and I knew I wanted to do stuff and I didn't care what it was. I just wanted to live, but I didn't know where to go. So like what I did in my sporting career, whenever I was completely confused and realised I can't do this myself, I found people to help me. I talked about the approach I have taken in a couple of earlier videos called the metabolic approach to cancer, that talks about the root causes of cancer. Like between 85 and 95% of cancers are nothing to do with and root cause being genetic. The genetics can influence, but some very small proportion of cancers are very genetically driven. I had been tested, so I knew that was not the case. The metabolic approach, the root causes of it are metabolic. It's a lifestyle disease that usually it's not one factor. Usually it's a combination of different things that have ultimately resulted in multiple system collapses in the body. Things start to creak, we ignore them because we're busy, and we then get a diagnosis that's very serious. So I had decided to take that approach, opened myself up, got totally overwhelmed. So I looked into Naisha's community and the practitioners that she had trained and found 2 doctors that I worked with. One offered a group aspect, so I joined Lori Bouchard's program, which was full of other patients who'd been diagnosed with cancer who were going through a similar experience, but also had chosen to take a similar approach. I had been in previous groups before, online and in person, but I really struggled because although we all had a cancer diagnosis in common, everyone else was still taking the traditional approach and just doing what they were told from an NHS perspective and nothing else. It created a gap for me and a feeling of separation, whereas in Lori's group, I was surrounded by patients going through a similar experience, but also approaching it in the same way. So we had a lot more in common and could share. So I worked with Lori and her practitioners and was surrounded by other patients going through the same thing. And my other guiding light, who still is today, is Doctor Janet Maendel. Janet is an integrative doctor who specialises in patients that have had a cancer diagnosis and other things. And Janet's first task was to understand Jenny at different levels, three main different levels. Who is Jenny genetically? Who is Jenny biography, that's from conception or even grandparent stuff through to now? What's happened in her life? What are her patterns? What is shown through? And then the third piece is environment. What is happening? What's her work life like? What's her home life like? What's her relationship like? Who does she surround herself with? And those three lenses looked at holistically, so physically, biology, chemistry, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. So Janet took time to understand, who is this patient from Scotland across all of these different things, looked at my bloods, looked at my scans, looked at the medical history. And out of all of those hundreds of options that are available, it became clear which ones were going to be the ones that would support me the best versus the ones that probably weren't relevant now or might never be. Janet's been on my team very early from my stage 4 diagnosis and continues to be the lead player in my medical team. They don't talk to each other because they're all spread all over the world. I'm the person who joins them all up. I don't need all of them all the time. Some of them are my guiding lights, and then everyone else I pull on whenever I need their support, alongside my own support network in terms of family and friends. Both Lori and Janet were trained by Naisha Winters in the metabolic approach to cancer. There's a practitioner list of people globally who've been trained in this approach. So if you're interested, I'll drop their website in the description below. I have no affiliation with them. I'm sharing because this is my experience. I am here today in the health that I'm in because I took a metabolic approach, and I found people who would help me concentrate my time and energy and money in a small amount of things that would give me the biggest impact. And once those things were ticked off, we started working our way through some of the smaller things that would just boost my immune system or help stabilize my hormones or help bring my blood sugar balancing into optimum range, but also in a way that when I'm out for dinner and it's late and it's a much higher carb dinner than I'm expecting, and I have a big blood sugar spike, I adapt much quicker because that system is now optimized, both for stabilization but also fast adaptation. I'm here today because I've had guidance from these two people. And then all the other practitioners I either found through that network or I found in Scotland through conversations. So that's this is what I did. The rest of the videos coming up, I'm going to talk to you about some of the other things that had the biggest impact for me. And a lot of them are not products, they're not physical things, they're not drugs, they're not supplements. A lot of it's about emotional and mental models and ways of navigating your life that for me were broken, quite truthfully. That might shock some people, especially those that know me, but I had some patterns and preferences that made everything worse in terms of pressure and stress. So the next couple of videos, that's what I'm going to cover off for you. So I hope that's been helpful. I'll leave the link in the note below, and if you've got any questions or comments, just add them in as normal and I'll come back to you as quick as I can. Thank you, everybody.